You can find a lot of people in Iraq, both Americans and Iraqis, who believe that the central nervous system, if you will, for rebuilding this country lies in a group of men and women who are rarely seen. They are part of the Army's Civil Affairs Unit, and their job is to help build a democracy, or more correctly, to help the Iraqis build a democracy of their own.
For a good portion of my career, I did civil affairs and psychological operations. And a lot of it was in the civil affairs arena, which is civil military operations. And it's dealing with where the military works with civilian pieces in, I guess, warfare. And we try to eliminate civilian issues during war. I was deployed to Iraq in 2010, and that was mainly for it was with a civil affairs brigade, and I was basically stationed at Camp Victory in Baghdad. I spent basically all my time there. I worked with the civil affairs brigade. We basically were the brigade that represented all civil affairs in Iraq at the time, and it was right at the forefront of the downsizing of the forces in Iraq. In the withdrawal in 2010 from Iraq, the brigade was doing a lot of things for the national level police, things like that. We helped basically rebuild the Baghdad International Airport, get that up and running. I mean, it was being used by the U.S. and there were still international flights, but we were helping with different aspects of it. Some of the other aspects I was dealing with in Iraq at the time too was the withdrawal of civil affairs forces in Iraq. And one of the things that they did or asked was we needed to withdraw 3/4 of the civil affairs forces out of Iraq, and basically we had to decide how we would do that. And so we came up with an idea of making sure that each of the areas in Iraq that had what they call they're like brigade combat teams, BCTs, that they all had civil affairs soldiers that were there that could represent and help with the civilian aspect of where they were as all the forces downsized in Iraq. And that way there was always a continuity and connection between that. So it wasn't just, I guess, action people and no one that can go between the civilians and the military. It was kind of interesting because we had quite a few different units in Iraq, and basically we had to figure out how to break that up. And basically what was decided was use one unit that was the last in Iraq at the time and break that one up and pull all other civil affairs units out. During the withdrawal, I did not really myself interact much with the civilians, so I didn't really see too much of that. It was kind of a mix, but that happens when you pull militaries out. Now, you could see what happened in Europe after World War II. We still have troops in Europe, so if we pull them all out, then we are leaving the people to where they could go back to what they were before, or vice versa. So it's you're trying to leave it as best you can. At least the military is trying to do that, but a lot of it is politics and what the other parts of the government, the U.S. government, want. So that's kind of how we go. Basically, with the downsizing of the civil affairs in Iraq, how the civil affairs soldiers reacted, they were disappointed because they were being taken away from what they should have been doing. I mean, if anything, they should have been one of the last ones out because of how we are supposed to, based off doctrine and that type of stuff, work with governments, help stabilize the government, help with any of the things that they need help with, because we do have those specialties within our ranks where a lot of the other parts of the military do not. So we do have in civil affairs, because a lot of civil affairs is in the reserves, And so you have doctors, you have veterinarians, you have economists, you have lawyers. We had many of our commanders were judges throughout the different states. There's a lot of different aspects that we bring to the table that the most of the military does not bring. So if you have someone that knows how to shoot a rifle and someone that knows how to negotiate better terms in, say, rebuilding and restructuring a city, the gun ain't going to do it, but the person that has a knowledge of how a city works and how it should work and how to rebuild it would be the one that you'd want. So that's where a lot of the civil affairs soldiers were kind of getting I shouldn't say they weren't getting mad, they were just disappointed